Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Dare to be Catholic. I'm here with the brilliant Father BRIAN HORGAN.
I'm not sure about that, but you're here with me anyhow.
Yeah, well, you're turning red. All right, so Father HORGAN, the reason I love the title Dare to be Catholic is because there's so many reasons to be Catholic, starting with this parish. This parish is a parish for the people. The church, you always say that the church is the people are the church. And you've built a really beautiful community and people really get involved and you are fearless. You are very courageous even when you're giving your sermons at the altar, and you're really a great inspiration, and you are very open to dialogue and discussion, and plus you're absolutely brilliant. How many degrees do you have?
No, I mean, I could be a better priest, I could be a better man, I could be a better son, I could be a better brother, but there's always room for improvement. So, but thank you, I appreciate your comments. But
Thank you.
I do realize my own inadequacies, my own failings.
Well,
So,
see, you're also human too. So there's that. I mean, the most perfect person to put on the cross, as we know. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's also other reasons why it's difficult to be Catholic when you consider all the different issues that go on in the church, capital C, from the archives and below the Vatican. Can I say it?
sure.
The Vatican. I mean, there's 53 miles of books that may or may be from maybe from the Great Library of Alexandria. There's, issues with the man who is in charge of it. There's, what's gone on with the priests, and I still feel for the families.
Mhm.
And so there's so many different issues, but still, I think people are here for the community, and because there is a grassroots movement of Catholicism. Would you agree to that?
I would.
Okay.
Yes.
How would you? So I'm going to ask you questions that people have asked me and emailed me because they want to know what it's like to be a priest, right? Sunday is Priesthood Sunday,
Yes.
and we're going to talk about that. But
I never saw those questions beforehand,
you didn't?
so this is a surprise.
Okay.
Okay, I'll do my best.
All right.
I'll
Okay.
answer them the best way I can. If I can't, we'll get back to them.
Okay. So first of all, let's talk about the grassroots Catholicism that's going on in the church. Where do you think that's coming from?
I suppose in many ways, there's a whole variety of reasons for that.
Uh-huh.
I would think, because of the changing nature of,
Mhm.
say, the church and where we're at and which direction we're going, that the future will only be found kind of in small faith communities,
Mhm.
not in this big, large, universality of a church, that
Mhm.
the future comes from small parish communities or
Mhm.
people getting together, to maybe pray the rosary, come attend mass. Or there was a beautiful thing in Ireland years ago. It used to be called the stations,
Oh, yeah.
and every family in a local parish would take a turn every year. And it was a great honor to have mass celebrated in your house, and you invited everybody. And it was a great party then afterwards.
Oh, wow.
And I think they had a kind of a little bit of a sense of how important community was
Mhm.
and how important everyone was to everyone else.
Mhm.
And I think that's what we're rediscovering through all of this, through all of the mess that we've been through.
Well, certainly that's why I'm here in this parish, because that's what you've established here.
Well, I would say it's not me.
Okay, well,
I would say it's the people.
the parish is
It's
here.
the community.
Right.
It is the gospel we preach, the message we preach, the acceptance we have of others, the
Mhm.
non-judgmental attitude, the embrace that we give to people who feel lost and abandoned.
Mhm.
There's always room for one more on this train.
Right, and you really have embraced everybody. There's even a poor box, and you talk constantly about the poor in Palm Beach County. I mean, you wouldn't even think about that, but when you go grocery shopping, you
Sure.
see them and you see them on the
Well, we
street.
do a great job of hiding poverty.
I know we do.
We don't want to see it. We'll support it
Uh-huh,
and we'll support poor people
Mhm.
once they don't live in our area.
right, right. But you always talk about them.
Well, it's hard to believe in a first world country
Uh-huh,
that over half the children of this nation go to bed hungry.
wow. That's really a fact?
That's a fact.
Okay. It's a disgrace, honestly. Okay, so, okay, let's talk about you and your personal journey, okay? First of all, one thing I wanted to know was, what's your day like as a priest? How do you start it? What time do you get up?
Okay. Well, in many ways, no day is the same. I
Okay,
generally get up between 2 and 2:30 in the morning. I spend about an hour in prayer. Then I go check my emails, prepare for the day, follow up on emails. I get a tremendous amount of work done.
You
Uh,
email me at that point.
Yes, I do. And then I come down here to the office, check what Michelle has left for me to
Okay.
sign and stuff, get all that done. Then I would call my mother in Ireland, and I would speak to her for a while, make sure she's okay, and then get ready for Mass, celebrate Mass. After Mass, then I'd have appointments, generally up to around 12 or 1 o'clock.
What kind of appointments do you have? Like, what do you do? What
I
else?
would say normally people don't come to see me when they're happy.
Oh,
So you're dealing with, stressful situations for families,
mhm,
whether it is because of substance abuse or
Mhm.
opioid abuse.
mhm.
Also, I could be meeting couples preparing for marriage, or preparing to baptize their child, or students for confirmation.
Okay.
Any of our students for confirmation have to come and talk to me and tell me why they want to be confirmed.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Did
Not
you ever-
why their mothers or their fathers want them to be confirmed.
But why they
want
wanted,
to be.
did they ever give you a bad answer?
No,
Okay,
there's no bad answers.
okay. So, okay, so
So
you,
then I would do that. I'd maybe then in the afternoon, I'd either go for a walk,
Mhm.
or I would again just catch up my emails and stuff, because
Mhm.
get a lot of stuff coming in. And as pastor, you have a lot of stuff to kind of oversee,
all right.
committees to set up, meetings to attend.
Mhm,
Then if there was any requirements from the diocese, that would all be taken care of.
mhm.
Then I would generally eat around 5 o'clock, a meal, and I'd relax, watch TV for a while, and then I'd be heading to bed around 7:38.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
So you got, okay, because then you get up at 2 o'clock in the morning. So what does a priest watch on TV?
Netflix,
What are you watching?
I can't tell you that.
Why?
Because it's a kind of a controversial series that's out at the moment.
Not Stranger Things.
No, no, no.
Okay.
It's concerning murders in California.
Okay. I don't know which one that
Yeah.
is.
And then YouTube, I'd watch a lot of YouTube
Okay,
videos. TED Talks, I think, are very good.
okay.
Sometimes if I'm kind of boring, if I feel bored, I can get English and Irish television live too, so I'd catch up on stuff like that. But I'd say maybe my television usage would be not more than an hour, hour and a half.
Okay. And what does a priest eat during the day?
Well, I've my
Irish
breakfast.
oats.
No, I've tea.
Okay.
I have my granola and
Mhm.
muesli for breakfast, and then for supper I would have either chicken or fish.
Okay, and you skip lunch?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And that's interesting. So what challenges did you face during your seminary training or your early years as a priest?
I would say in the early years as a priest, it was when this whole sex abuse scandal started.
Right?
That would have been a major one. In the seminary, I had a wonderful seminary experience.
Mm-hmm.
Now I've had friends, classmates even, that have never returned to the seminary since the day they were ordained.
Why is that?
Oh, well, no.
They had a bad seminary?
Whatever. No.
What's a good seminary
Well,
experience?
I found the formation I received was positive,
Mhm,
was healthy, was very needed at that time,
mhm.
and they produced good priests.
Okay,
I would say I would always speak so favorably of my seminary formation. I did not witness or see any irregular behaviors or any irregular activities.
okay, that's interesting.
Um,
Where were you?
I was here in Florida at St. Vincent de Paul.
Okay,
I had wonderful teachers, wonderful rectors, priests that I would imitate.
wow,
Yeah.
okay. Because when I was in New York, I knew several priests who wound up on the front page of the New York Post. One was the front page of the Times. I had another. Well, then I had a friend who was a priest. He was actually pretty great. But a movie was based on him. He was an actual exorcist in the Vatican. It was The Exorcist. So that's Father Peter Jacobs. But in terms of priests, you're just about the best.
Well,
So,
I'm not, but like you,
but
I've
I'm
known
telling
priests
you,
too,
yeah,
and bishops that
Uh-huh.
have, failed.
right.
It's, we can kind of judge the whole bunch so
Mhm.
easily.
That's true. I mean, I did know one priest that is as evil as they come. And yeah.
I would say from my own experience of living in Ireland for 20 years,
Mhm.
if it wasn't for the religious orders of the Catholic Church, the
Mhm.
priests, Ireland would not be the most educated country in Europe as it is today,
Right.
because they did it for nothing.
Okay. See, that's the thing. It's like the Catholic Church. It's like the church can be so rewarding and you can get so much out of it. And then there's the big church with the capital
Right.
C. Again, the grassroots is what
Mhm.
more of what I'm interested in.
Absolutely.
In terms of, I'm going to jump around a little bit. I mean, these questions here are really great, but you did bring up the scandals. So I'm just going to ask you about that. What would you say to somebody who's like, what would you say to a mother whose son was a victim of the abuse, the pedophilia in the church? What would you say to her?
I probably wouldn't say anything first. I'd listen.
Okay,
Um, if a woman like that, a mother was coming to me, she's coming to me for a reason.
mm-hmm.
And whether it's to talk about her own experience or to maybe have a pathway for her son to talk.
Right,
As a psychologist, I would certainly take that approach to listen
mm-hmm.
and to gather as much information as what had happened.
Okay.
Um,
You're a psychologist. I did see
yes,
that you have a
my
doctorate in
doctorate's in psychology.
Okay.
So I would approach it from that level,
Mm-hmm.
and my ultimate goal of that meeting would be for her to be able to trust me.
Yeah.
And I
Okay.
think listening is the first step.
Listening is absolutely. What about the sister of a brother who had this, who was victimized?
If his sister came,
Mhm.
again, they're coming for a reason.
Right.
And whether it's healing or
Right.
whether it's to vent,
Uh-huh.
my role there is to listen.
Okay. And
Maybe they've never told anyone that story.
right. Okay. So
And
then
as you know, trouble shared is a trouble halved.
that's a great way to put it. Okay. So you would say then you have an open door, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Always.
Mm-hmm. That's
24 hours a day,
wow. Okay.
preferably during the day.
And not when you're sending out emails at 3 in the morning.
Right.
Okay. Let's see, what has been the most rewarding part of your vocation?
That's very interesting. I think I have so many because with the experiences I've had of 26 years as a priest,
Mhm.
I would say walking with people.
Walking with people,
Walking with people in the happy times, the
Mhm.
marriages,
right?
in the sad times, maybe
Mhm.
funerals, the times of great rejoicing when children are born.
Mhm.
I think it's establishing relationships with people,
Mhm.
because now I'm finding that people I married 26 years ago,
Mhm.
their kids now are coming for, marriage prep and stuff.
Wow.
So it's, my thing is, it's so important to build relationships. Because Catholics have a very unique expression when they say my priest. Do you know my priest? Or my priest was, so and so. So Catholics take a level of ownership of their priest.
Hmm.
And you can't be Catholic without a priest. And a priest can't be a priest without his people. So while we do celebrate Priesthood Sunday, this coming Sunday,
Hmm.
it's just a reminder of the relationship, I think, that exists between priests and people. And it always has to be a two-way street.
So, okay, this is another interesting question. Okay, what is, so the role of the priest in society, what would you define that as then?
I would think it's a ministry of presence,
Mm-hmm.
that people come to understand that they are loved beyond all else.
Okay. So you consider yourself a conduit then, right? Would you?
I think everybody is.
Okay, I agree with you. Everybody is.
Everybody is.
Mm-hmm.
But the priest is the one that kind of prods them along and says, come on, you need to be serving your brothers and sisters.
Right.
Don't be sitting back and expect table service when you come to church. You know, we don't do takeouts or deliveries. We want you to help us. You know, I can't run a parish if I don't have people to help me.
Right.
You know, so there's people far more qualified on, say, maintenance issues, on technology, you know, on forming groups and stuff. You know, we all have gifts. And you may have heard this, you know, what we are is God's gift to us, what we become is our gift to God. And unfortunately, there's that struggle I would see is a kind of a sense of laziness, might be too strong a word, but a lot of Catholics don't want to
do anything. Yeah, I mean, 1 in 4, where are they, really?
Yeah.
Right? It's interesting. Okay. Okay. How do you maintain your personal faith and spiritual life amidst the demands? Okay, how do you maintain your own personal faith? Like, do you go to, do you confess to other priests?
Yes. I go to
Anybody?
confession once a month.
You do?
Yes.
Anybody we know? Do you
I'm sure you do.
Okay, so
But
you,
in confession, I have to identify myself as a priest.
right,
And there's not too many priests in this area with this accent.
okay. So basically, I'm asking if, like, you know, the priest that you confess to, is he here in this parish or no?
I'm not sure.
Okay, you can't really say. None of my business, actually. All right, so,
But the answer is no.
okay, all right. I could see where it's probably, you want to have boundaries.
But you know, in confession,
Yeah,
you learn to forget.
so you forget when people confess their sins to you?
Absolutely.
Really? Because it makes me think, like, I was married to a restaurateur, and every time somebody walked in the door, he'd say Cornish hen,
Right.
you know, whatever, you know,
Yeah.
pasta with vodka sauce, whatever, but you forget, you don't remember?
The best thing I've ever developed in my life is the ability to forget.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Did anybody ever confess a really heinous crime that but you forgot if they
I
did?
don't recall.
Okay, all right. Can you share a moment when you truly felt the presence of God in your life?
I think I've had many of them.
Yeah,
On pilgrimage, I would have felt that. On Marian pilgrimages.
what's a Marian pilgrimage?
Marian.
A Marian,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Also,
Where were you?
I was in Medjugorje. I was
Oh,
in Knock in Ireland.
wow.
But I would see the experience of God more in a personal sense, like after my father died 3 years ago.
Your father died 3 years ago?
Yes, yeah.
Like 2.5.
So I would have seen that as a very spiritual experience.
In what way?
I think I was forced to make a decision to either become bitter that my father was taken from me the day after I returned to America,
Yeah.
or I could become a better person because of who I am, because of my father. And I chose to become a better person.
That's a great way of looking at it,
Unfortunately, there's a lot of bitter people in this world,
right?
and life's too short to be bitter.
How do you advise people to get rid of their bitterness? What do you say to those people who are bitter?
Well, I can't change anyone else. All I could
Right.
do is change myself, but I
True.
would listen to them.
Okay,
And if they wanted advice, I would offer advice like maybe forgiveness, maybe prayer, maybe confession, maybe, doing something nice for that person that they're bitter towards, to break
okay,
down the barriers, because we're all about building bridges, not walls. Walls separate us,
right,
bridges unite us.
okay,
And I think everyone is faced with bitterness or betterment in their lives
Oh.
at some stage in their lives, whether through grief, whether through loss, tragedy, whatever. They have a choice to make. Do you become bitter because of the experience, or are you a better person because of the experience?
That's a great
And
way
I
of,
think God wants us to be better people.
so when God created us, why did he create us? What was the point of creating humanity? I mean, this is like a bigger question.
It's a very theological question.
I know, I'm sorry.
No. Why did he create us?
Yeah,
I think he
why are we
created us to
here?
experience his presence on earth,
Okay,
to prepare us for what we'll experience in hell.
okay,
A foretaste almost. Like this is the appetizer.
okay. So do you think he created us so that we would create here and then create maybe through our own consciousness and our divinity, our creation would be an expression of him, that kind
Well,
of thing?
we're not divine.
I know we're
Christ
not
is the only
divine,
one who's
but
divine.
okay,
But
right,
I know
but
what you're saying. I think the fact that we were created was so that we can experience his love and share that love with other people.
okay,
And he doesn't hand out crosses to people, but he's like Simon of Cyrene to help us carry our crosses. He never gives up on us, despite the times we give up on ourselves. So I think he created us to experience a foretaste of what would come, and also to understand that even though through disobedience we had lost that friendship, there was a chance of redemption and forgiveness.
So basically, is that one of the lessons of Christ,
Well, that's why he sent Christ, to remind us
of redemption?
that there is another story, another chapter.
It's really, I mean, that's the other reason why I'm here, for Jesus. And well, the reason I'm here is for Jesus and Mary
And others,
and God and the saints, and yeah,
and your fellow parishioners.
and my fellow parishioners. Absolutely.
And that ties into the fact of going to church. People think by missing mass, because people have lost the concept of sin, they think that by missing mass that it's just about them and it's not about anybody else. But I always say the community has a right to your presence at the church, because when you're missing, the community is missing out. So it's not just you skipping mass and saying to heck with these people, but it's these people saying, where's Marisa? She's not here. Like you read this morning, and you read so fantastically, from Ecclesiastes, and you read with passion. And to deny that to people at the weekend, it's not fair to the people. I don't think that's fair. So it's not just about you and your relationship with God. It's like the cross. It's not like if you look at a cross like this, it's not like just you and the cross with God on top, but it's also you and the community here. And that's the two aspects of the cross.
Wow, okay.
And sometimes it is a cross to
Yeah.
be with people that annoy you and, come in late or kind of talk out loud or answer their phones during mass.
Oh my God, I
But
hate that.
Yeah, so sometimes that's challenging, but at the same time, we never lose sight of where we're going.
Okay.
Because when we lose sight of where we're going, we won't know we've arrived when we do.
It's a great way of saying it. Okay. How what role does confession play in the Catholic life?
It's a very important sacrament. It's a sacrament that's, I think, very undervalued.
Mm-hmm.
People say, you know, I confess my sins to God. Well, they generally don't. You know,
Right.
so they're saying that, but the sacrament of reconciliation it's a healing sacrament,
Mm-hmm.
because if people are like me and I confess a sin, I've obviously thought about it for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes I can be very hard on myself. But to hear the words, you know, your sins are forgiven
Mm-hmm.
and you're not a bad person, just keep trying again. That's the most important part of reconciliation. Not only are you absolved from your sins,
Mm-hmm.
but you hear the words, you're not the bad person you think you are. You're doing a good job.
That's
And
great.
that's why I need to hear that. It's almost like a pat in the back saying you're okay.
So let me ask you something. If you sinned like 25 years ago and you've confessed that sin,
Mhm.
do you need to keep confessing it?
That's the devil trying to torment you.
Well, let's talk about the devil tormenting us. I mean, I always feel that always like the devil is always putting doubt in your head, like my head for sure. Even when I'm trying to get work done, it's like you think you do something wonderful, and then there's that little voice that says, no, it's not all that.
Mhm.
Or don't make that phone call. Or how do you recognize the devil when he's tormenting you, and how do you like turn that voice or get rid of that?
That's a good question. I don't think we've a problem recognizing the devil.
That's true. Yeah.
We know it.
We know it, but even he kind of
It's
sneaks
what
up
we
on
do
you
with
though.
it.
Mhm.
You know, we are in charge, like the difference between us and say animals, we're in charge of our emotions,
Right.
and we don't hand them over very easily to another person.
Mm-hmm.
And when people fall into the trap of allowing the devil to get into their lives,
Mm-hmm.
then the devil will take over.
Okay.
There's one thing the devil fears is holy water and priests.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it is a battle,
It is a battle, always, right?
always,
Yeah. I
until
mean,
till about an hour after we're dead,
yeah.
we'll be battling the devil.
Until about an hour after we're dead.
Yes.
So what happens when we're dead in like, those 59 minutes after we die?
I'm not sure. I haven't been there yet, but
Okay.
I'll come back and tell you.
All right. Make sure you do. And if I like leave this planet, then I'll let you
Yeah.
know what
Well, my
happens.
father never came back to tell me, so I figure it's not that bad.
Okay. I get signs from my father all the
Mhm.
time. It's kind of weird, like
It's
in
not.
numbers.
It's not good.
Do you know what? Okay, I used to live in Jersey City, right? And I was having a particularly really bad day.
Mhm.
And I was like absentmindedly, I walk a lot. Walking really clears my head, and like, I have those Saint Francis of Assisi, God is on and all living things. I see God in nature all the time. Like that is inspiration for me. Anyway, I was in Jersey City, not much nature there, but I was really like grieving my dad and having a terrible day. And I look up and I found myself at St. Anthony's Church. My father's name was Anthony, right? And I'm like, wow, that's kind of weird. I didn't even realize there was a St. Anthony's Church here in Jersey City. And I'm like, is this a sign? And then I looked up again, and right next to the church was like the pharmacy sign. My dad was a pharmacist, Anthony the pharmacist. So I was like, wow,
Oh, yes. I firmly believe in that.
yeah,
I've experienced that myself.
okay.
Yeah.
So I love those moments.
Because we're only a heartbeat away.
Yeah.
We're closer to heaven than we think we are. One heartbeat away.
So this makes me think of this. Padre Pio, right? He would say when he was giving mass that there were more spirits than there were people in the church. Did you ever hear that?
Yes. That's a line from St. Alphonsus Liguori.
Okay.
Mhm.
So do you think that's true?
Absolutely. Alphonsus said, if we had eyes of true faith, we would see countless hosts of angels and archangels, seraphim, and all the diadems of heaven dancing around the altar when a priest celebrates mass.
So that's kind of, I wish I had those eyes to see that. How do we get those eyes?
Well, I think faith is the certainty of things we can't see.
Okay. But it would be kind of great though to
We won't
have
see it
like
in
put
this
on
life.
those glasses,
Oh, absolutely.
you know?
We won't see it in this life, but in the
Mhm.
next life we will.
So yesterday I was watching this interview with Mel Gibson, you know, he's doing a movie Resurrection, right? And he said this is on a side, but goes along with angels. And he said that he had two scripts. One was like the classic for, you know, the character beats of what happened in Resurrection. And then he had this other script that was like mind blowing with angels falling. And I just thought, yeah, I'd like to see those angels. I really would.
But you have one, you have your own one, your guardian angel.
I do.
When you were born, you were given a guardian angel.
Okay, do you know your guardian angel's name, or do you ever talk to your guardian angel? I mean, do you talk to saints?
Yes, I pray to them.
You do?
I do.
Who do you pray to?
Saint John Vianney would be one of my top favorites, patron saint of parish priests.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
Yep, I would also pray to Saint Maximilian Kolbe, who was killed in Auschwitz in the Second World War.
Okay.
My third would probably be either Patrick or Bridget from Ireland. And then another one I pray to is Bishop John England, who was a priest from Cork in Ireland.
Okay.
Was the first, he was appointed, he was ordained for the Diocese of Cork, was appointed the first Bishop of Charleston, South Carolina. He did tremendous work out there, and he's beatified, and his cause for canonization is up in Rome. It's in Rome at the moment, but I had a wonderful opportunity not so long ago visiting his crypt.
Oh, where is it? In
It was
Cork?
South Carolina.
Oh, in South Carolina. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was the first bishop to start printing Catholic material in this country.
Oh, wow. Fascinating. I'm always intrigued by the lives of saints.
Well, you know, every saint has had a past,
Mhm.
and every sinner has a future. So we're all
Oh.
called to that sanctity, not by doing extraordinary works, but by doing ordinary works extraordinarily well.
Okay. What would an example of that be?
Being nice to the person who yells at you. Reaching out and giving your last dollar to somebody that really needs it,
Mhm.
even though you were going to get coffee or something. Seeing an elderly person that maybe hadn't showered or you know, for weeks, and offering her a ride home. That's
Okay.
the ordinary things done extraordinarily well.
So those are the things that you would get to heaven for, you think? That would help you?
Well, it won't not help you,
Okay.
because remember what Jesus said, you
Mhm.
know, when I was hungry, you gave me food, when I was thirsty, you gave me drink. When I
Right.
was in prison, you visited me. When I was naked, you clothed me.
Mhm.
And so, and in as much as you did it for them, you did it for me.
Right. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. We did talk about the scandals already. We talked about, what's the role of, we kind of did talk about the role of the church.
Mhm.
Don't you think we kind of covered that?
I think the role of the church is a beacon of hope. It's like a
Okay.
lighthouse in a darkened world.
It is a lighthouse.
Yep.
Okay. It is a beacon of hope. Okay. All right. I would definitely say that. I would say the parish. Yeah, okay. How do you see the role? We did talk about the parish fostering a sense of community. You know, somebody asked me, actually, if you ever regretted being a priest, if you miss out on like the life of, I mean, did you ever want to get married or be a father, or how do you feel? Do you ever think about that? Is that something that you wonder about?
Yes, I would say that's a normal part
Mm-hmm.
of your life.
Mm-hmm.
I think one thing I find, envy is a bad word, but that I find that it's a very hard way to express it. Maybe envy might be the best word. When I see my friends with their children, and I look at them and I say, "Gosh, you're so lucky."
Mm-hmm.
But then it's not something I regret doing.
Right.
But Do I have doubts? At times, yes, I have doubts, as I'm sure everyone does.
Right.
Leading back to your first question, yes, I could be a better priest, I could be a better son, I could be a better brother. You know, there's room for improvement.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely when I go home, when I'm out with my friends, they talk about their kids, and it's like we're back in high school again. And so much has changed in all of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of leave there thinking, you know, they're so lucky. They're so lucky. And they know how lucky they are, how good wives.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
And this is in Cork you're
Yeah.
talking about? I'm still jealous you're Irish. I am. Don't tell that to any Italians we know.
No, but no, you know, Marissa, I really did enjoy those questions.
Yeah, they're
So,
really,
yeah.
really great. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, I would say for anyone in the audience that's watching or subscribed to us,
Mhm.
Sunday is Priesthood Sunday. It originated actually in 2003, by the Conference of Catholic Bishops and the Sarah Club,
Mhm.
which promotes vocations. And I would say we've never celebrated it here in the parish
Mhm.
because I was by myself and I didn't want to. But I would say for those that have priests,
Mhm.
reach out to them, because sometimes priesthood can be very lonely. And loneliness is a terrible affliction to have.
Loneliness kills.
It does.
Yeah, are you lonely?
No,
Okay,
but there are times when I do get lonely.
okay.
But I would encourage people to drop a note to their priest. You know, we get notes of complaints all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Church is too hot. Church is too cold. You speak too soft. You speak too loud. You preach too long. You preach too short. But I think to understand that in the life of a Catholic,
Mm-hmm.
priests play an integral role. And maybe over time, they were not appreciated as much. And I'm not saying the priests are saints. But I remember at my first Mass, the priest who was preaching
Mm-hmm.
said to the people, "You're lucky. This man is now a priest." But he said, "Remember, this priest is also a man."
You do say that. I've heard you say that.
And
What does that mean exactly?
I think we're as human as everybody else.
Okay.
And that's why I would encourage people to reach out to their priests.
Mm-hmm.
And even if it's just a note or whatever, to
Okay.
let them know how important they are in their lives.
Well, you are very important, especially to this community.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
It's the community.
Well, it's
And
also,
God.
and God.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jesus. Thank you,
Yeah.
Mary. All right. So once again, this is another wonderful episode here talking with you, Father
Thank you.
Horgan. Thank you
Thank
so much.
Thank you.
And stay tuned for more of Dare to be Catholic.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm gonna have to edit this out because where is the, okay.